And son, that's where God lives.
It's an honor to introduce you as the head coach of the Louisville men's basketball program.
He's not the biggest name, but he showed today that, he is ready for the job.
Pat Kelsey understands that fans are the lifeblood of a successful, sustained program.
He brings a lot of energy, he's enthusiastic, and he's got a plan.
Because we want to live in the top 25.
Passion,
Compete for ACC championships,
energy,
and compete to hang banners.
intensity.
This is the ultimate job.
Box has been checked.
I can't wait to get started.
He's going to be working to get U of L back to where they need to be.
Go Cards.
And right now on the WHAS11 night team, the work begins. It's a new coach, the second in 2 years. Tonight, though, is bringing a glimmer of hope to the major turnaround needed at the Louisville basketball program. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt, and thank you for joining us. Pat Kelsey today spent his time in front of the Cardinal faithful today, honoring fired coach Kenny Payne and praising coaches Rick Pitino and Denny Crum. We have team coverage of the hiring of the Cincinnati native, including his new contract. WHAS11's Connor Steffen is live at the KFC Yum Center talking to those close to the program. Will they be back in the stands? But first, we begin with Sports Director Ken Spencer. Cover the announcement at the practice center. Kent?
Yeah, Doug, Pat Kelsey has won at every stop he's been at, but he's never had the opportunity to do it as a head coach on a stage like Louisville's. This afternoon, he stepped on that stage, and it's pretty clear he's going to attack the task at hand with enthusiasm.
It's an honor to introduce you as the head coach of the Louisville men's basketball program.
And with that, Pat Kelsey is officially the head basketball coach at Louisville. The Cards were looking for someone who would crawl to this job. Kelsey came close.
I expressed to Josh that I'd run there. It's the best job in the United States of America. I'd run there. He knew how bad I wanted it.
It's a day that ends a process that took a little more than 2 weeks to complete. How did you deal with the pressure of this hire?
Look, the pressure didn't change from the time the announcement for Kenny was made. This is a big deal. And I wanted to try to do everything I could to get it right.
Kelsey clearly wasn't the first choice, but he was always in the hunt.
I know we ended up with the right guy here, and I have the utmost confidence in this guy. I mean, I'm so excited. I was really there 2 nights, 3 nights ago. I don't even know what day of the week it is. But I told Pat, I said, hey, and I'm almost certainly going to offer you the job, but I want to sleep on it. Not trying to get your hopes up, but, just feel really comfortable. And woke up the next morning and felt even better.
I was ready when my name's called. Competitive excellence. I think I've been preparing for that interview my entire life. This is the ultimate job. This is the peak and pinnacle of my profession.
A proud day for the entire Kelsey family.
Lifetime dream, probably, for me. It's big time. It's not where we were, and I think it's Pat's destiny. But from a father's standpoint, couldn't be prouder.
A family from Cincinnati.
It's my cousin. What about that?
Who's now just 100 miles away from Pat and his family.
I could scream hallelujah at the top of my voice, and I hope that would explain it.
Kelsey talked about rebuilding the culture of this program, so rich in tradition, and connecting with the players from its past.
This is your program. This is your program. You never have to call. You never have to ask. You want to come to practice, you just show up. This is your program. You built this. You put banners up in the rafters. I'm lucky to be the steward right now and lead this thing into the next era, but this is your program. I'm not going to name all of them, but I'm going to name one. Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne.
Singling out the coach who had just been fired.
Obviously didn't work out the way we wanted it, but he is a major, major, major part of Card Nation, and he is welcome back here like everybody else, and we're really proud of who he is and that he's a Cardinal.
The Pat Kelsey era of Louisville basketball is certainly off to an energetic start.
So blessed to be the head coach here. L's up. Go Cards.
Now, Josh Hurd knows the Kelsey hire to the Louisville fan base may not have been universally received. In fact, he told him nobody's throwing for them a parade today. The focus is in 8 months when it's time to win basketball games.
I want to read directly the quote the president, Dr. Kim Schatzel, said. I thought it was very telling when she said, "I am confident. I am so confident that we got this right." That little sentence, though, saying a lot. It takes in a lot of the history we've just been through the last 2 years.
They were looking for the right coach. They were looking for the right fit. They were looking for somebody to be able to connect with the fan base, to bring the fan base back. And they're looking for a coach to be able to win games. They feel like they have found that in Pat Kelsey.
All right. Thank you very much, Kent. Well, Pat Kelsey has signed a 5-year deal with the Cardinals worth $2.3 million per year. Now, that is $1 million less, more than $1 million less than what Kenny Payne was making in his deal. Kelsey's contract also includes several bonuses like $50,000 for an ACC championship win or an NCAA tournament appearance. U of L is still paying out big money. The school must pay the College of Charleston $1.1 million for Kelsey's buyout through the year 2028. It's one of the few buyouts that they're still managing at the moment. The former coach Chris Mack's buyout with the university was $4.8 million. He is still being paid $133,000 a month until 2025. That is for Chris Mack. Now, Kenny Payne's buyout could still be upwards of $8 million. That's what's listed in his contract. We haven't heard officially, though, if they have settled with Kenny Payne for a lower amount. We have asked the university for those figures. Despite the turmoil and the sparse attendance over the past 2 years, and then the new coaching search that saw one candidate after another take other jobs, Cardinal fans tonight seem ready to return. WHS 1119's Connor Steffen and photojournalist Aspen Hester are live right now outside the KFC Yum Center. You've been talking with some of those connected to the program tonight. Connor.
Doug, you have to think about it. Just a few days ago, Coach Kelsey was a relative unknown to a majority of the Louisville fan base. After today, it seems he has gained their trust. They just hope he can keep it. After a tough few weeks, Cards fans now have their guy.
And I'm willing to give him a chance. I think he's going to do good just off the cuff.
And I think this guy is another guy that can come in and kill it, and don't be surprised if he does.
His high-octane energy.
He's not the biggest name that people will know in college basketball, but he showed today that, he is ready for the job.
Serving as motivation for fans to move forward.
The energy, the enthusiasm, that's great.
For Hall of Fame coach Denny Crum's wife, Susan Sweeney Crum, it wasn't just Kelsey's energy.
It's just a different level.
But the respect he showed in his highly anticipated introduction to Cards fans.
He recognized Kenny than what he did here in being a Cardinal. He recognized the other Cardinal players in the history of the program. And in spite of his youth, he knows who Denny is. So that makes me happy too.
For close to an hour, Coach Kelsey spoke to a captivated crowd, a who's who of Card Nation, from former players.
I just think his energy, bringing that energy, that positive energy.
To former U of L assistant coaches.
I know he's already hit the ground running with the portal, endearing himself to the boosters, NIL.
And Hall of Famers like Lancaster Gordon.
You're going to have to make some changes, and in this day and time, he talked about making some of those changes and working with people because it is what it is.
And Cards fans,
I just think he's going to be the best that we got right now.
Seem ready to embrace that change.
Got to bring a whole new team in. He's starting from scratch.
That whole era, the NIL, the portal and all that, I don't know how I would handle it. He seems to be able to do it, so I'm excited.
The expectations, they say, aren't high.
And I think the expectation is try to get back in the tournament.
Only what you'd expect from one of the nation's top basketball programs.
He's going to be working to get things at U of L back to where they need to be.
Now, it is hard to make any predictions going into next season just yet. Coach Kelsey says that he's already met with the current roster. He says he's ready to win, but he does have a lot of work cut out for him heading into the fall. We're live in downtown Louisville. Connor Steffen, the WHAS 1119, on your side.
And Pat Kelsey is married and has 3 young children. We welcome them to Louisville. You can watch Pat Kelsey's entire news conference. It was just under an hour long, and he got a lot of good, insightful questions from reporters. We've posted our video. Just go to the WHS 11 YouTube page. Now we want to move to another major story here on the WHS 1119 that's all new. It's been developing in Frankfort today, and it involves JCPS and the first move taken today by Kentucky lawmakers to gain gain oversight of the big Louisville school district, giving them fuel to the fire. That major audit released just this week, detailing the disastrous transportation plan that led to the first day of school busing mess. Our senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez is in Frankfort, where Louisville continues to be the focus.
Kentucky Republican lawmakers got their wish, a chance to put the state's largest public school district back under the microscope.
And I want to be clear and on the record, I would vote today to break it up. I would vote today to break it up into multiple school districts.
But that's not what House Resolution 81 does, at least not yet.
There being 30 yeas, 7 nays.
Passing with ease in the state Senate Tuesday, it'll create a task force to study JCPS's size and how the district operates, and determine what, if anything, needs to change.
It will also take into account, obviously, student performance and readiness for post-graduation.
Kentucky's GOP has been calling for outside intervention for years, and that first day of school meltdown became the spark plug for a renewed effort. Now you add that scathing audit, accusing JCPS of making rash decisions for this school year's bus routes. Does this add fuel to the fire? Where's your head at?
Well, it's definitely something we're going to take into consideration.
But State Senator Lindsey Titchener, a supporter of the task force, does seem to agree with the premise of JCPS's recommendation to cut magnet and traditional school bus service.
With the school bus driver shortage, you've got to take into consideration if you're making a choice to go to a different school other than one nearby, you might need to find your own transportation.
How much of this ultimately falls on Superintendent Polio?
A lot of it. It all goes up to him.
Meanwhile, among the 7 no votes, Senator Gerald Neal of Louisville.
It is very difficult for me to understand why individuals would not give support to a school system, but would go in to try to top down determine exactly what the school system should be doing.
I asked Governor Andy Beshear what to make of several bills passing that look at changing local policies.
It's clear that the supermajority has an absolute obsession with Louisville, but if that's the case, go and run for an office in Louisville. Don't try to change decisions here in Frankfort.
And because of the nature of this kind of resolution where it doesn't change a law, Governor Beshear cannot veto it, meaning this task force is happening with a recommendations report due in December. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
And Isaiah will be joining the panel of reporters tomorrow on KET's Comment on Kentucky, talking about today's big development. Well, the JCPS Chief Operating Officer is pushing back against that audit. In a letter to the board, the Chief Operating Officer refutes what he calls several false claims from the auditor, including those about the bus driver shortage. The auditor says JCPS is only down 17 bus drivers, but Rob Folk says this claim lacks understanding of the issue. Folk went on to say that they have 552 drivers to cover 569 bus routes. To cover every route, Folk says they would need 621 drivers to be on time. Because Folk only took over as Chief Operating Officer in October, we asked JCPS if anyone was available to talk about the claims in the audit that he was not around for. The district said that they aren't doing interviews at this moment.
In 75 members voting aye, 23 members voting nay, House Bill 5, as amended in the Senate and concurred in by the House, is finally passed.
After hours of debate on both the House and the Senate floors over the session, the extensive anti-crime bill called the Safer Kentucky Act is headed to Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear's desk. Supporters say the bill will reduce rates of homicide and other violent crime. It includes changes to the parole board and increasing penalties for violent crimes. Opponents say the bill lacks legitimate data to prove that it'll prevent violence and does not address the root causes of it. Today, the governor did not say whether he would veto the measure or not, saying his team is still reviewing the legislation.